Hey everybody, I just wanted to show you something really quick here that I put together on Twitter, and I know not many people see my Twitter anymore, so I wanted you to see this in a YouTube article. So Sputnik posted this morning a whole slide on how it's from the Russian Ministry of Defense showing how military biological projects in Ukraine are run. And this initial one, it's not like it's that detailed, but you can kind of see here how it shows the German and Polish military and biological activities. This part I don't really understand a lot as far as the whole German and Polish part goes, but what did spike my curiosity was this whole thing with Battelle Memorial Institute, because anybody who follows my material knows that nearly all roads lead back to the Department of Energy and Battelle, in addition to SAIC and Leidos, but they're side topics. But what I'm telling you here is that Battelle is obviously heavily involved in everything that's going on overseas right now. It says that their part within those biological labs was temporal analysis of rabies cases amongst domestic and wild animals in Ukraine. All right, so that's that part, guys. But what makes this a little bit troubling is look in the upper right corner, that's the same Battelle that manages the Department of Energy. That's the same Battelle that runs the nuclear surveillance, cybersecurity, NSA function at Pacific Northwest National Lab. The same DOE where many of our internal problems originate, in my humble opinion. So if you scroll down, hang on here. All right, so I put PNNL is fond of ciphers and cryptograms. They also have authorization to create propaganda in the U.S. as long as it's designed to fool foreign audiences for national security. PNNL equals Department of Energy equals Battelle. So what I'm telling you guys is that basically the way that the contractor relationships exist is your Department of Energy as a government agency. I mean, it's kind of the Department of Energy, but it's really just Battelle anymore and just a few other companies that manage it and run it. So sure, it's the government, but it's not. It's basically run by Battelle. Battelle has lots of partnerships with SAIC, Leidos, Jacobs, Centera, a bunch of other companies, and something called the Mission Support Alliance based out of Hanford, Washington. A former nuclear reservation, now cleanup project and lab. So what other propaganda did they invent on U.S. soil, and who did it fool? So if you want to know what I'm talking about when I tell you about this, the National Defense Authorization Act for fiscal year 2013 is a United States federal law which specifies the budget and expenditures of the U.S. Department of Defense. The full title is an act to authorize appropriations for fiscal year 2013 for military activities of the Department of Defense, for military construction, and for defense activities of Department of Energy. Okay, guys, so remember what I'm telling you is that once you deliver all of those authorizations over the Department of Energy, you're effectively giving it to Battelle. You're giving it to the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, PNNL, who does have a something called the National Security Directorate, which I have a slide for here. I know about this because I actually had a relative that worked there at one time. They don't work there anymore, but they were replaced by somebody whose name is Shelley Groves. Shelley Groats. Shelley. So basically, a Cruz was replaced with a Groats. So, Groats, Croots. I don't know. You can make whatever you want from that, but that's a whole side topic. Anyways, guys, but that's basically where a lot of these authorizations lead back to, is specifically the National Security Directorate. And you can kind of see here how that works. I put here in this slide, the Smith-Mundt Authorization Act of 2012 would allow U.S. propaganda intended to influence foreign audiences to be used on the domestic population. So again, folks, this is one of the reasons why it created a lot of concern once the law was enacted, was because it basically gives the nuclear industry and the cronies within the nuclear industry who function a little bit as our government to just begin creating propaganda that fits their narratives. And all they have to do is come up with some flimsy justification that they're trying to fool Russia or whoever, right? So I put, where you find Battelle, you find shenanigans, and not the fun and cheeky kind. They are usually behind the tragic and cruel kind, which makes them not shenanigans at all. Sorry to be humorous there, folks, but I did a whole article on their use of colloquialisms, and I used the word shenanigans as an example, so I just wanted to put that in there. It helps people understand how they use cryptograms and ciphers, because a lot of them are very, they're colloquialisms that are used out in the country, or in more rural parts. So I put here, Battelle and Black and Veatch doing bioweapons labs near you-know-whose border? Russia. Clinton Global Initiative? Soros. That's a lot of anti-war leftists teamed with nuclear industry and Battelle, who runs the National Security Directorate and propaganda arms beating the war drum. And then if you look at these slides, folks, you got to zoom in close on them. You see the companies like Black and Veatch. You see them partnered with CM2H Hill, Jacobs Engineering. Again, guys, CH2 and Jacobs Engineering are also part of the Mission Support Alliance connected to PNNL, Battelle, and Hanford. I know, guys, I'm giving you a lot of information here, but normally it takes me a few hours to do this, and I'm trying to make it into a quick clip. Then here you've got the Clinton Global Initiative. You've got Soros, right? These are all the people that are involved with these bioweapons labs. It shows the U.S. Democrat Party entered into partnerships with Ukraine in 2005 to launch bioweapons programs in the country through Barack Obama. Same time, Hillary Clinton spearheaded the adoption of a U.S. strategy to counter biological threats and promoted the legislation of dual-use research. So again, these were the people that were promoting the relationships with Zelensky's Ukraine, and even before Zelensky even became president, these were the people that were bringing all those bioweapons labs over there and doing all these partnerships on the Russian border. Biden coordinated the activities of the executives of the military biological program involved in financial fraud in Ukraine, and George Soros was a major sponsor of military biological research in Ukraine and a lobbyist for Big Pharma. So again, guys, the same people that are driving a lot of these other narratives that are kind of keeping people indoors and not letting people get out, all kind of lead back to the same core group of people. As soon as the virus broke out, it was Battelle that had all these solutions immediately in place and ready to go right away. It just seems like anytime there's something that's causing a lot of global conflict and a lot of misunderstanding, you can almost always find Battelle nearby. And guys, you really should pay closer attention to that relationship at the Pacific Northwest National Laboratory, especially like here, and take a look at the kind of functions they have at what should be like a small lab out in the middle of Eastern Washington. And you have groups like the National Security Administration, Department of Defense, Homeland Security. I mean, I know about these things, guys, because I had a relative that worked there. And again, they don't work there anymore, but they were replaced by Shelley Groats. And so, you know, when you kind of look at the way the news cycle works and the way cryptograms and ciphers works, and what might have been made up as propaganda and what might actually be whatever, you just need to look deeper, guys, because what I'm telling you is this whole ecosystem that's behind this same thing that's going on over there. Everything that's being hidden through that conflict overseas is the same types of things they're trying to hide here in America with the way they manipulate information in the United States. So all the same propaganda techniques that are getting us to buy into that conflict over there are used here in America to get us into racial divide, gender divide, everything. And it originates with the same group of people who have the same ability to make the same authorizations. And it always leads back to the same place. But they're going to get you to blame all these different agencies and everything else like that. But folks, if you're smart, if you really research these things and you're really studying it, you're going to learn over and over again that what this leads back to is special authorizations that were granted to the Department of Energy that basically are high-level national security functions that normally you would only entrust the military with, but for some strange reason, here in America, we gave effectively a privately run lab, a nonprofit lab with lots of private partnerships with SAIC, Leidos, Jacobs, CM2 Hill, and a bunch of big pharma. We gave them authorization to run propaganda on U.S. soil back in 2012. And as far as I can tell, that machine that's worked effectively on us and our minds here is being used to affect our opinions of what's going on over there. So I just wanted to state that clearly, and thank you for listening.